Hello, I'm Kesenya and welcome to this week's Astro Weather Report. There is so much happening in the sky this week. It's a big activation week and I'm very excited to talk about it. But before I do, I just want to say a very heartfelt thank you to all the beautiful people who put timestamps on my video for the benefit of everybody else. I'm a very busy person, as we all are, I do realize that, but when I make a video and it's an hour and a half long and then I edit it, and it can take about a whole day for me to do videos and prepare them. So I actually call it production day. That's my day today, is production day, where I'm working on videos that I release. And so it's a gift to me as well as a gift to everyone else that these gorgeous people put timestamps to help and assist. But I'm going to come at things from a slightly different perspective this week. I'm going to do this video in a different way that I hope will make it a lot easier for the people who do graciously put timestamps on my videos, and I hope it will make it clearer for people to understand what's going on with their particular sign on any given week. So it's a new approach I'm going to try when I get to going through all the signs. I hope it works for everybody, and especially for the kind people who support me with those timestamps every week. I also would like to say a big thank you to Lada, who has allowed me to share with you a product that I've created here on this video. As you know, I use the astrology wheel. This is something that I've made for myself to help teach and share astrology with people. And I get a lot of people asking me each week, where can I get one? I love your astrology wheel. I would love to get one. Well, I've spent the summer looking into how I can manufacture this, how I can share this with the world. But unfortunately, living in Australia makes things very difficult with regard to postage and expenses and so forth. And manufacturing is about dead in Australia unless you are a boutique producer, say on Etsy or something like that. So with that in mind, I have created a couple of versions of my astrology wheel. This is one of them. This is a spinning astrology wheel. As you can see, it's a wooden spinning wheel on ball bearings. It has fuzzy felt planets that you can stick wherever you like, and so it makes a really great piece, personal piece. You could hang it like a clock on your wall with your your astrological chart on it, so that as you're going through your day you catch a glimpse and that's right, that's my chart and this is who I am, and so on. Very empowering. It also, you could set up if you wanted to, where the planets currently are as a reminder, so it's kind of like an astrological clock for you. Or it's really good for showing, teaching your kids about astrology, that sort of thing, and sharing it with people one-to-one, because we're all very visual these days. People it's a very visual society that we've become. So with that in mind, it actually is very helpful to showing and revealing how things are working in the skies. So there's this bright color version. Bear with me just a second. And this is my personal favorite. We have a pastel version, which is similar to the large one there, and obviously it operates the same with planets that you can stick wherever you like, fuzzy felt. So that's another version. So there's pastel or bright, and there's also, I don't have any handy at the moment, but there is also a metallic version. This is fuzzy felt. There's a metallic version as well that has magnets that is coming as well. And these are, as I mentioned, these are boutique items that I am creating by hand for people. And if you are interested in an astrology wheel, then you'll need to send me a message through my readers page on Astrology. I'm not going to be responding to comments in this video. I'm not going to be chasing you up for your email address in the comments section. You'll need to contact me via my readers page contact form to let me know that you're interested in finding out more about the astrology wheels. So thank you to Lada for the opportunity to mention that here on my video. So what I just want to begin, excuse me, checking my notes. I want to begin by asking what you have noticed about the past week that's just been. We are in incredible times, astrologically amazing times, and we are gearing up. There's so much in the sky that is setting things up for the looming conjunction of Saturn, Pluto, South Node that's going to occur next year. So this is a year of setting things up, so to speak, and in doing so, it's also a year of a lot of letting things go, karmic releasing. So last week we had a conjunction with Venus, Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node. Now they weren't all at the same degree, but they were close enough to really be felt at a very karmic level. Pluto and Saturn are the two heavyweights in astrological karma. They very much pertain to fears and traumas that we've suffered in past lives. And when the South Node is there, the South Node is about releasing, excreting, letting go, getting rid of past life traumas, past life fears, or if you're not a believer in reincarnation, you might interpret that as being something from your early childhood, fears and traumas from early childhood that need letting go. And Venus was triggering that last week. So what happened for you last week? Whatever occurred for you, and some people will have felt it more strongly than others depending on their natal chart, but it will have brought serious karmic shattering. Shattering of long-term patterns. And in my life, I'd like to maybe just share quickly an illustration from my own life. It brought massive shattering of long ancestral karmic patterns in my life, especially regarding women. For me, in my natal chart, I have Pluto square Venus. This is the only Western aspect that I have to my Venus, is a square from Pluto. So you can imagine that's not easy to carry in your chart. But aside from my Saturn-Venus conjunction that I have, the only sort of non-conjunction aspect is Pluto square. Sorry, I'll just clarify that. So what this meant for me, sorry, I'm just checking my notes. What this meant for me was a massive shattering of my relationships with women that occurred. Because Pluto and Venus last week were conjunct by transit in the sky, and of course that correlates to what Venus and Pluto are doing in your natal chart as well. My approach to astrology is that we are born with our birth chart. This is one of my approaches, I should say. We're born with our birth chart, and this is actually the result. This birth chart is the result of our past life growth, our past life karma, our past life experiences, and then we die essentially with the nature of this life. Sorry, it's hard to clarify. Our past life, in our past life we die with the nature of our this life birth chart. So we die with that energy. We've become that energy. We pass away, and we're reborn into this life with that energy all set up for us, that we've grown and matured into in a past life. We're born into this life with our birth chart energy. But again, we're on a process of evolution. Evolutionary astrology talks about this a lot. Each planet is representing something that we are evolving with regarding the nature of the planet. So Venus might be with relationship to women. It might be with relationship to partnership or money, Venusian things. And each planet represents what we are evolving with regarding the nature of that planet. And throughout our lifetime, we actually grow and mature and emerge into our ninth harmonic chart. This is where we're heading, this is what we're becoming, and this is the energy, theoretically, that we will die with in this incarnation and be reborn into in our next life. That's the theory behind the harmonic charts or divisional charts, ninth divisional chart, if that's what you use. But to do this, to rise into our new energy paradigm, we really need to shed our old patterns and the old karmic loops and the old habits that we carry in our birth chart. And that doesn't mean that we no longer are our birth chart, but we are evolving through our birth chart. So, and this is what's happened for me this week, and I have felt it so powerfully. I don't know if you can notice today, but I'm actually a little bit shaky and a little bit nervous, which is not usually me when I'm doing a video. I'm usually quite okay. But there's been a lot of shattering of my Pluto square Venus through the karma that unfolded last week. I'm just wondering how much I should say. I grew up in a community that was very very fundamentalist religious, bordering on, you know, or heading towards extremism. And this week, that's that karma from my childhood, and it stretches. See, I'm struggling with words. This is not my usual nature, so there's been a huge shift that I'm really grappling with and energetically coming to terms with at the moment. It's a past life thing as well, regarding the relationship with my mother, women in our lives, and it's I'll pull my head together. Because of my practice of astrology, I've been asked not to essentially participate in my family any longer. That I'm not welcome while I'm practicing astrology. So that's in a nutshell what's occurred for me, but it has made me break away. It's made me break that karmic pattern of control and power and fear over me that has been quite predominant in my life through religious extremism throughout my childhood. Now, I know that there are many people, probably a lot, who are watching this channel right now. It's not going to apply to everybody, but there will be many people who are watching this who have also suffered similar kinds of circumstances through, you know, judgment because of their interest in astrology, particularly from religious circles. So I send my love to you. I give you, you know, all the loving energy I can, because it's not easy and it's difficult. So I'll try and get my words together. This has been a hugely karmic purging and excretion period for me. Saturn fear, Pluto control and power and dominance. Venus involved, women, and the South Node karmic purging. So for me, I've stepped into my own power this week. It has been amazing. And I'm obviously realigning with that energy and adjusting to that energy now in my life. So big changes that are setting me personally up for what's coming ahead in the future, and it's happening on a collective level as well. So if you want to, please share what has occurred for you, what's been shattered for you in your rise into your 9th harmonic chart energy, what's been taken away with this very karmic past week energy, what's been renewed for you, what's been changed for you. If you want to share, please do. We all learn from one another. Just a little bit more about the 9th harmonic chart. It becomes stronger and more evident after the age of 50. We tend to see it more in our lives, and we feel that energy more in our lives after the age of 50. And so as we approach the age of 50, these karmic patterns that we carry, these, you know, energies from past lives and childhood, they begin to be broken. So as you enter into your 40s with the midlife transits you know, the general transits, you can actually start to see this shattering of the karma. So we can either be set free from our karmic patterns if we've been doing a lot of inner work, a lot of soul work, a lot of spiritual work, and you know, coming into our own power. We can be set free from these karmic loops, we'll call them. And you know, we're set free through our own soul growth. Or if we haven't been working, and usually most people who are into astrology are working very strongly with their own soul growth, if we haven't been working on up-leveling and maturing and spiritual knowledge and so forth, then we actually move into, after our 50s, we can sort of move into more an area of fear. And this is because we're stepping into this new energy and we're unfamiliar with it, and we don't want change, and we fear change, and we're not ready to evolve, and our soul like, no. So you often, you can see as we get older, some people get super crusty, super cranky pants, and then there's other elderly people who just become angelic and gentle and beautiful and gorgeous souls. You can see it playing out, that the crankiness that some people have veiled for years starts to emerge as they get older and less patient and less tolerant. And similarly, some people just become gorgeous. So yeah, this is, as we move into our ninth harmonic, this is one of the demonstrations of that. The ninth harmonic chart is actually the most powerful chart in our lives next to our birth chart. It's the most important. You may have heard Lada speak a lot about it, and she uses it in a lot of her courses, how it is representative of our soulmate as well, of the energy we desire to become, which is often what we look for in a partner. So it's that energy as well as what we are becoming as well. And I hope to do a series on the ninth harmonic chart at some point in days to come. So I've asked you what you felt with this conjunction that was very powerful that occurred last week, and Venus triggering all those planets through moving across them. And I want to also ask you, are you feeling Uranus this week? Because this is the last week we've got of Uranus in the sign of Aries. Now, I'm going to use an illustration from my own life. But my body, and I get this a lot when I'm having heavy duty Uranus transits, if you're about to have a Uranus transit to the first house, you'll probably experience this, or the sixth house as well, which is the house of your health. You will experience, likely to experience twitches, muscle spasms, sort of jumpy muscles maybe at night and things like that while you're lying in bed and stuff. And I, in the last week, have had a real resurgence of that. Uranus is conjunct with my moon in the 8th house in my chart, and so he's a very strong planet for me. And I'm really, really feeling, there it goes now, I had my leg jump while I'm talking about this. So the solution, if you're feeling the energy of Uranus at the last degrees of Aries, where he's really starting to, wanting to break free, wanting to move into new territory, wanting to assert himself. I talked about this in last week's video. If you're feeling the physical manifestations of that energy, then grab some magnesium, from high quality magnesium if you can, from your local health food store or chemist or something, and start taking some magnesium if the twitches, etc., are bothering you and you want to alleviate them. I actually love them because it's a reminder to me, oh yes, Uranus, you're doing your thing. You're going to change, signs in a week, and you're getting ready, bring it on, more twitches please. I actually rather like it. So there's so much going on this week. We've got Jupiter conjunct with the moon, or the moon conjunct with Jupiter on the 28th, the last day of February. We've got Venus moving into Aquarius on the 2nd of March, making an exact sextile with Chiron in Aries at Gandanta degrees, which is very karmic degrees. And of course, Chiron, I don't usually utilize Chiron a great deal, but he is the wounded healer. So the sextile from Venus is going to be again reactivating any, in a kindly way through a sextile, any wounds that we carry from karmic past lives, early childhood, any wounds that we are carrying in our body, in our life through our birth chart are going to be sort of kindly given a little tap on the shoulder through Venus's sextile on the 2nd of March, especially at Gandanta degrees, which are the degrees of karmic knots, things that have caught up in our psyche over many lifetimes that we haven't processed properly. So we're going to be called on the 2nd of March to address those again. So lots and lots of karma that's playing out now in our lives and collectively too. And then on the 3rd of March, so that was the 2nd of March, on the 3rd of March, the moon will conjunct Venus in Aquarius. So these are 3 important energies that are coming up. But just to be kind to myself, after my very powerful week last week that occurred. I'm only going to focus on one energy this week rather than three like I usually do. And this is the big deal energy. This is the powerhouse energy that's going to be occurring, and I'm very I'm a week out from this. This is happening next Wednesday in Australia, March the 6th at 3 p.m. to be precise. I just can't wait for it. I'm so excited about this energy. It's like, bring it on. You know, how can we make this come quicker? So ready for this energy. And so this is what I've got set up in my chart, in my astro wheel, not my chart. But here we have, I hope that'll stay there. Yep. We've got this gorgeous planet that I adore. Uranus will finally, at 3 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, on the 6th of March, will be moving into the sign of Taurus, where he's going to stay for the next 7 years. Hallelujah. Can't wait for that one. And I'm sorry, I do talk, I've done a series on what that's going to bring everybody in their particular, wherever Taurus falls in whole sign astrology for you. So I'm not going to go into what Uranus is doing for you personally. But on this day, we also have a conjunction of Neptune, the Sun, and the Moon. So essentially a new moon that will be occurring a few hours after Uranus moves into Taurus. This will happen. But on the same day, a new moon conjunct with Neptune. That is powerful. That is really, really powerful. Not to mention Mercury down here will be conjuncting Chiron, who I don't have a symbol for, at Gandanta degrees, karmic loop degrees, you know, karmic knots, karmic issues that keep playing out through your ancestry or through your own reincarnation. Mercury, our thinking, our thoughts, our understanding, conjunct with Chiron. So this is a massive, massive day. The 6th of March, write it down, write it on your calendar. Things are going to shift on this day. So we have here that this is the configuration that will be being made, is a bisextile triangle running between Saturn, Pluto, generally, they're not at the same degrees, but they are together. Saturn, Pluto, and the South Node will be making a bisextile triangle. So Mars, not Uranus, but Uranus will be in the same sign as Mars on this day, so the energy will be conjoining in a way, not as strong as it is when they're at exact degrees. But so you can see there, we've got what we call a bisextile triangle. So the new moon on Neptune will be creating a sextile to Mars, and Saturn, Pluto, South Node, a sextile to the new moon, and a trine to Mars. So this is what we call a bisextile triangle, and this is a very, very special configuration. I'll talk more about that in just a second. But what can we expect on the 6th of March from this little powerhouse bit of activity here? Well, our sensitivity is going to be heightened. We are going to be more tuned in. We're going to be more sensitive to the emotions of people around us, the actions of people around us. We're going to be switched on, you know, at an emotional level and an egoic level as well to what people are up to around us. We're going to be more sensitive and perhaps a little bit more reactive. So just keep that in mind. Your ego, Sun is ego, and your ego can be fueled on this day and charged up on this day by undertaking, because it's in Pisces, the sign of Pisces, and conjunct the ruler of Pisces, Neptune. So you might get really satisfied, fulfilled, fueled up by undertaking some sort of compassionate activities, some charitable work, you know, hosting a morning tea to raise money for a charity that's dear to your heart, or doing, you know, working in a soup kitchen at night or something like that. Something that is very much about helping, serving, supporting others, charitable and compassionate. It's going to make you feel good to do that. There's also, you'll have this desire, the Sun is creativity, and Neptune is also highly creative as well, divinely creative. So you'll be really switched on about doing some sort of creative project, you know, dabbling in filmmaking or photography or art or music. So if you work in those areas, this is a great day for you of empowerment for what you do for a career. But anything that involves also intuition or divine understanding, psychic downloads, wow, switched on to the max. So great if you work in astrology, but also if you are, you know, a medium or a psychic, or you work in energy fields, metaphysics, these sorts of things are going to be, you're going to be really tuned in and turned on the 6th of March through this energy. You're also going to have enhanced imagination on this day, and your dream life is also going to be really charged up and turbo boosted. So very, very powerful. So if you work in imaginative realms, just, you know, say you're a children's book writer, and, you know, you're going to get a full-on burst of the creative juices flowing in you on this day. Especially as the sun is connected to the house that rules children. So that might actually play out for you if you are a children's book author. But any realm, you know, if you work in fantasy in any way, if you do, you know, Hollywood makeup and hair design for fantasy movies or something, like you're going to just be at the top of your game on the 6th of March. You know, anything that involves fantasy and imagination is going to be really boosted on this day. Like I alluded to a moment ago, there will be strong psychic insights that you receive on this day, light bulb moments because of the connection to the sign Uranus is in, but light bulb moments that are coming through your own intuition, which is Neptune, and the moon as well as intuition. So really switched on intuition, psychic understandings and emotional insights. You know, like you just get downloads like, aha, now I understand why that had to happen that way. Now I get it, you know, those sorts of aha moments. Be careful though of being deceived or confused through psychic downloads. I mean, Neptune, if you've got a Neptune in your natal chart that has a lot of heavy duty aspects, squares and oppositions and things like that, then you want to be really careful that your psychic downloads that you receive on the 6th of March aren't a little bit off, you know, are a little bit skewed and cause you to be confused or cause you to be deluded perhaps. So check out your chart, see what's going on with your Neptune. If you've got mostly red lines, the hard aspects to your Neptune, then just remind yourself to watch out for, you know, any sort of intuitive insights you get on the 6th of March. Double check them. Make sure, you know, find a close friend and say, look, I'm thinking this. What do you think? Am I on the money with this? You know, and get some feedback, because when you've got a Neptune that has difficult aspects to it, sometimes our intuitive insights can be a little bit off. But like I said, an exceptionally creative day. So if you're in any type of creative profession, this is fantastic. You know, you're really going to be blessed with new ideas, new insights, new wisdom that almost comes to you from other realms, you know. There's a focus on this day on renewing the deepest areas of your life. Now the moon, this is because of the moon. The moon will be invisible because when it's conjunct with the sun, it becomes invisible. But it's renewing itself at this time. It is setting things up for a whole new paradigm to unfold, for a whole new way of being. And of course, the moon rules emotions. It rules our heritage, our roots, our lineage. It rules women and the matriarchal figures in our life. It also rules our home. So these are our very intimate areas of life, our emotions, our home, our heritage and ancestry, our roots, our lineage. You know, these are very intimate and personal areas of who we are. And so when the moon is renewing itself, when it's conjunct with the sun at a new moon, there is a refreshing, if you like, or a readjustment or a restructuring in readiness for the re-emergence of the moon when the moon moves down to, say, about here, sort of, you know, later degrees of Pisces, early degrees of Aries. Then about 2 to 3 days after the conjunction, then we start to move into our renewed energy, our new way of doing things. So this is a very, very powerful new beginning because of the new moon, because it's new moon, but because Neptune's involved as well, and because of the kindly as supportive aspects that are occurring on this day too. Now, what we need to watch out for and what we need to do at this time on the 6th of March, we need to stay away from negative people who are energy vampires, who suck the life out of us. Just don't return the phone calls. Don't go meet them for coffee, you know, let them know you're not coming or whatever, but just stay away from people who just drain your energy, because you're going to be very sensitive, remember, at this time. You're going to be really switched on and tuned in and emotionally charged up. It's not healthy for you to hang out with people who just bring you down. So stay away. Set some boundaries. Neptune's not good at that. So set an intention. I will have boundaries regarding my friendships, regarding the people I interact with on the 6th of March, and I will stick to my boundaries, you know. You can employ positive escape techniques. Neptune is escape. Now, often you hear people say, oh, Neptune rules drugs and Neptune rules alcoholism, and it's about, you know, escaping prisons, hospitals, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that is true. But there are two sides to every coin, and not all escapism is bad. In fact, escapism is fabulous. And as a highly Piscean person, I love it. So go and see Green Book or Bohemian Rhapsody. It's still showing in Australian cinemas, you know. Go and see these fabulous films, or, you know, On the Basis of Sex, or one of these, you know, go to the movies. Neptune and Pisces rule the movies. And yes, you can tell I've just been watching the Oscars, and I am so happy for Rami Malek, but I wish Viggo Mortensen had got a Guernsey somewhere. But that aside, going to the movies, doing some sort of fantasy photography, or having a photo shoot done where, you know, you're dressed up and looking, you know, creating an illusion of something spectacular, or going for a swim at the beach, going to the ocean. Any of these kinds of things are positive, healthy escapism. Escapism, Pisces Neptune escapism, I've talked about the shadow side of that, what negative escapism looks like, but on the light side of that, the yin yang for that, escapism is all these beautiful things where we just get away from the everyday. We read a great novel, or we see a great film, or, you know, escaping for our soul's rejuvenation. And of course, with the moon being rejuvenated in a new moon phase right now on this day, it's a really good thing to do, to indulge in some positive escapism. You know, go to a day spa, have a massage, do something that takes you out of the ordinary run-of-the-mill, hard work, everyday routine. You know, it's opposite. Pisces energy falls opposite 6th house Virgo energy, which is hard work, duty, responsibilities, being practical, being, you know, and here we can just get away from that. We take holidays, we take a break. So do that on this day. The Piscean energy is strong. It's a really good day to do that, and healthy for you to do that. So watch out also on this day for any emerging signs of paranoia or guilt in your life. So maybe something's come up for you over the recent weeks, and on this day you might just be getting like pings of paranoia about what's happened, or interactions that have been undertaken, or some sort of guilt. So be detached, be observant of what you're feeling and experiencing emotionally, and you know, seek wisdom. If you need to get it from external sources, from dear friends who are wise, then do so, because you sort of fall into the hole with with guilt and paranoia on this day. So watch out for that. Also, watch out for infections, particularly infections that are as a result of unclean water. So I mean, we don't often have those sorts of situations in Western society, but sometimes they can crop up where, you know, you go for a swim and the water is a bit and you end up sick or something like that. So just watch out on this day for that sort of thing, because Neptune and the moon both rule water, and Neptune is no boundaries, or can be no boundaries, and is also no boundaries with our immune system. So we can be more prone to infections and bacteria and so forth on this day because of the conjunction of these 3 planets. So, as I said, it's an incredible day. It's going to provide a karmic reset of emotions, of home, heritage, roots, lineage, a reset of your relationships with women and the matriarchy. And this is combining with the change of signs from Uranus and his big move into Taurus. And it's coming on the heels of last week's massive release, as I've described, of worn out karmic loops, plus Chiron and Mercury at Gandanta degrees. So, my God, a fascinating day it's going to be for all of us. Now, again, new moon is new beginnings. It's a great day for setting intentions for what you want to achieve, not only for the 2 weeks ahead, but also for the 7 years to come. It's no coincidence that we are having a new moon, a day of setting intentions, of stating our desires, on the same day that Uranus begins a 7-year journey through Taurus. Set your intentions for what you want to achieve, where you want to be, not only for the coming 2 weeks until the next full moon, but for the next 7 years, when Uranus will change signs and move into Gemini in 7 years' time. So it's a chance to create new beginnings in a powerful new way. This is a day, the 6th of March, which indicates a shedding of a 7-year cycle, Uranus moving through Aries. So an ending of this 7-year cycle and establishing, like I've just described, a new paradigm for the coming 7-year cycle. And in fact, what we've got going on here, this is the chart for the next 7-year cycle of Uranus. So at Australian Eastern Standard Time at 3 p.m. on the 6th of March, this is the setup. This is the chart that we will be working with for the next 7 years. The Uranian chart for the period of Uranus in Taurus. This is the chart we are working with, and it is quite lovely. I really do love this B sextile. Now, it contains a hell of a lot of karma. Collective karma and personal karma it will play out. This is because of this. Pluto, Saturn, South Node. Monstrously karmic planets and points. So we can expect in the next 7-year transit of Uranus, huge karma, huge karmic unfolding. And karma is, it can be a continuation of things that worked for us in a past life. Collectively, things that were happening in a past life, we can get a repeat. And that can be good or bad, depending on whether we're inviting in good or bad karma. It could also be results of our actions. We are now, over the next 7 years, going to reap the results of the actions that have been taken collectively and individually over the last few years. And so we can start to see results for things that have been instigated up until this point. Now it's like the ripening. It's this is when we pluck the fruit from the tree and see what the quality is like. Are we ready? Is this good enough? Can we eat the fruit of our karma? So it is going to be a 7-year period of, phenomenal karma for everybody because of this connection up here. But it's mostly going to be empowerment through the bisextile configuration. Bisextiles, they bring opportunities, not that fall into our lap, but opportunities that we need to grab. Right, there's a chance, there's an opportunity, let's run with it. I'm going to do the best I can with that. That's what a sextile and a bisextile triangle brings. Opportunities that we need to grab. Now, this will happen on a collective level, and it will happen also for you individually. Over the next 7 years, opportunities will arise that you, if you want to make the most out of your life and you want to up level and evolve, you need to grab them. There's also potential for tremendous success through this bisextile triangle in the next 7 years if we can see these opportunities and if we are courageous enough to take them. So it's actually really quite a lovely chart for the next 7 years. There's, like I said, theme of karmic purging and a theme of opportunities that are going to come that we need to take initiative for, and we can see great results for. But for the next 2 weeks following this new moon, the areas that are going to be activated by the full moon, I'm going to describe now. And this is where we're going to go through all the signs, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm not going to speak about each sign. What I'm going to do is show you where the configuration is falling in your particular chart, and you can interpret this through your rising sign or your moon sign or your sun sign. In fact, look at all three. The rising sign will be the most powerful, but the other two will also be important and will be fields where things will play out for you. But I'm going to start each little section with this is where the chart falls for you and what will be being triggered. And then I'm going to have the written version of what I would say up for you, so you can read it and get insight through reading your particular sign and the forecast for you over the next 2 weeks following this new moon as we head towards the full moon. So let's start. I'm going to actually, because I love my Pisces so much, and they always patiently wait till last every week, I'm going to start with you guys because you deserve it. You wait so patiently every week for your sign to come up last. Pisces rising is going to occur with the conjunction of the moon, Neptune and the sun in the first house. This makes the conjunction of, well, the close proximity, we won't call it a conjunction just yet, of Pluto, Saturn and the south node in your 11th house, making a bisextile triangle with Mars in your 3rd house, and Uranus has just moved into this area as well. So the 3 houses that are being triggered, which I will talk about in the write-up that will follow this little snippet, are the 1st house. This is the most important for you in the next 2 weeks, the 11th house and the 3rd house. For you lovely Aquarians out there, this energy is playing out in your 2nd house. The new moon is occurring in your 2nd house. That's the main area that's going to be impacted for the next 2 weeks. But it will also have an effect on your 4th house, where Mars resides and where Uranus has just moved into, and your 12th house, where there's heavy duty karma unfolding for you with Pluto, Saturn, south node. For you lovely Capricorns who have so much energy unfolding for you in your 1st house right now, the new moon is going to be occurring here in your 3rd house. And the other houses that are going to be influenced at the moment through this energy on the 6th of March are your 5th house, where Mars resides and where Uranus is just moved into Taurus, and of course your 1st house, where you've got all this heavy duty karma from Pluto, Saturn and the south node currently unfolding. For you beautiful Sagittarius rising people, the new moon is falling in your 4th house. So this is the main area that's going to be triggered in your life for the next 2 weeks until the full moon occurs. And of course, we've got your 6th house being triggered because of Mars making aspects as well here, and also Uranus having just moved into, on this day, the sign of Taurus. It's making a trine through to your second house, where you've got lots of karma unfolding with Pluto, with Saturn, and with the South Node. For you gorgeous Scorpio people, this energy of the new moon is unfolding in your 5th house. This is the main arena that's going to be activated for you for the next 2 weeks until the full moon. The other houses that are also going to be impacted are your 7th house, where Mars resides and where Uranus has just moved to spend the next 7 years. And your 3rd house, where there's heavy duty karma unfolding for you with Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node sitting and making this configuration. Lovely Libra rising people, this energy of the full moon, the new moon, will be unfolding for you in your 5th house. This is where all this action's taking place, and this is where the energy will be most keenly felt for the next 2 weeks until the full moon occurs. But the other houses that are also getting triggered are in your case, the 8th house, where Mars and Uranus are sitting. Uranus just moved in on the 6th of March to your 8th house, where he's going to spend the next 7 years. And Mars is making kind, supportive aspects to this heavy duty 4th house, where you've got lots of karma playing out for you through Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node. So that's the configuration. And now we'll have a look. You can read what this is going to bring you and activate for you. For very lovely Virgo people, the energy of the new moon will be playing out here in your 7th house, Pisces. So this is where most of the action will be taking place for you over the next 2 weeks until the full moon occurs. The other houses that are also being triggered are your 5th house, which contains Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node, so some heavy duty karma unfolding in that arena for you, but has been occurring for quite some time. And also the 9th house, where we have Mars and Uranus making aspects, and Uranus having just moved into this sign for the next 7 years. So this is the configuration of what's occurring for Virgo rising people, and now you can read how this may play out for you. For you lovely Leo lions, this energy of the new moon is playing out for you in your 8th house, where these 3 planets are conjuncting on this day, the 6th of March. So this is the arena that's going to be most impacted in your life for the next 2 weeks until the fruition of the full moon 2 weeks after the conjunction occurs. The other houses that are being activated through this configuration are your 10th house, where Uranus has just moved in and for the next 7 years, and Mars is making kindly supportive aspects to these important placements. The other one is your 6th house, where Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node are doing some heavy duty karmic activity in your 6th house. And now you can read how this will play out for you and how it will impact you. For Cancer rising people, the energy of the new moon is going to be playing out in your 9th house. So this is the arena of life where you're going to feel the most impact for the next 2 weeks until the full moon, when we reach the fruition of the energy that's planted, the seed that's planted at this time in the 9th house. The other houses that are being activated for you are the 11th house over here, where Mars is making kindly supportive aspects and where Uranus has just moved in to spend the next 7 years, activating that area of your life, your 11th house. And also the other house that's being activated is your 7th house, where you've got some heavy duty karma unfolding through Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node. So now you can read all about how this may play out for you in what arenas of life with the following explanation. My darling Gemini friends, this energy for you this week is playing out mostly for you in the 10th house, where the new moon is occurring. And this is the main arena that's going to be impacted for you for the next 2 weeks until we reach the fruition of this energy that's planted at this time when the full moon occurs. So from the 6th of March and then for 2 weeks following on, there will be energy playing out for you in the 10th house. And the other 2 houses that are being impacted for you are the 8th house, where you've got some heavy duty karma unfolding from Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node. And also kindly supportive aspects coming from Mars over here, just reach across, over here in your 11th house, making kindly supportive aspects, and Uranus that's just moved in there for the next 7-year period. So now you can read all about how this is likely to play out for you over the next 2 weeks. Darling Taurus rising people, this energy for you this week is playing out most of all in your 11th house. And this is where the new moon is occurring and all these planets are combining together. And so this is the area of life that's going to be most impacted for you for the next 2-week period until the full moon occurs. So the seeds you plant at this time will grow to fruition over the ensuing 2-week period. But the other areas of life that are going to be activated are your 1st house, where Mars is sitting right here under my arrow and making kindly supportive aspects here. Mars is making sextile and trine, and where Uranus has moved in to spend the next 7 years in your number 1 sign, your 1st house. And also you've got some heavy duty karma involved in this configuration through Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node playing out in the 9th house for you. So now you can read all about what this may manifest for you in the coming 2-week period. For all you exciting Aries rising people, this energy for you is mostly playing out this week in your 12th house, where this new moon configuration will be falling. This is the arena of life that's going to get the most attention for the next 2 weeks until the fruition of this energy when the full moon occurs. So what you plant at this time will grow to fruition in about 2 weeks time with the full moon. So that is the area of life that's being most activated for you, but you're also receiving activation in your 2nd house, where Mars is making kindly supportive aspects to these important components of the chart, and where Uranus has just moved in to make his presence known for the next 7-year period. You've also got some heavy duty karma playing out through Pluto, Saturn, and the South Node in your what are we looking at, in your 10th house, Capricorn. So that that arena of life is also going to be activated as well. So now you can read all about what may unfold for you in the coming 2-week period. So thanks so much for joining me for this new way of sojourning through the sky, walking through the stars and understanding the language of the heavens and how it might affect us. Of course, it all depends on what is unfolding in your natal chart, what's being triggered, what's being activated, what transits you're going through. So, you take these readings with a bit of understanding that for each individual it does play out differently. So let's just conclude with a small prayer and me sending you my love. Universal energy of love, we are grateful for the shift that is coming, for the change that is about to unfold, for the blessing that this new move into Taurus is going to bring us. We thank you that the chart for this period of time starts out so importantly and with so many blessed aspects, and we're very, very grateful that that is the case. It gives us confidence, it gives us hope that we can get through the next 7 years with hopefully positive, empowering and uplifting results if we work with this energy wisely, and help us to do so through universal love and kindness and gratitude. And so it is. Thank you for joining me. May you know love this week, and may this new shift, this big paradigm change, bring you great blessing and reward.